So this week we're going to talk about stonewalling, which is the fourth horseman of the apocalypse. And again, I'm going to be pulling from Dr. Gottman's book, Why Marriages Succeed or Fail, and How You Can Make Yours Last. I highly recommend this book. It's a fantastic read. It's very practical, very hands-on. It's a great resource. So today, the fourth horseman, stonewalling. Now, stonewalling is when you remove yourself from the discussion. You stop talking, you stop responding. You're not stonewalling, you're not even doing the You're not even doing that. You are completely non-responsive. Maybe you're looking at your phone or picking up the newspaper. Sometimes you go so far as to physically remove yourself. You just walk out of the room, walk out of the house. That's stonewalling. And stonewalling is, it's very detrimental because once you stop talking, any hope of resolution is off the table. Now, men, Dr. Gottman's research shows that men are 85% more likely than women to stonewall. And I bet a lot of women right now are like, oh yeah, he stonewalls. I talk, he doesn't. And there's actually a physical reason for that, which I think is very interesting. One of the things that Dr. Gottman talks about in his book is emotional flooding, and it's when you become so emotionally overwhelmed by the argument that you actually have a physical response. Your heart rate elevates, your blood pressure goes up, you're getting that fight or flight adrenaline rush. And so that's emotional flooding. And at that point, your brain isn't really functioning very well anymore. If you continue the argument while you're emotionally flooded, you're going to be much more prone to defensiveness and contempt and criticism and all those other horsemen. And so a lot of times people will stonewall as a protective act. So a man might reach that emotional state of being completely emotionally overwhelmed, and he will actually shut down the argument and stop speaking to protect himself, to calm down. Now, just because it's a protective measure does not mean that it's beneficial. It's a coping strategy, but there are lots of coping strategies, and some are very helpful and some are not. And this one is very not helpful. So if you are a stonewaller, because some women are stonewallers, and if you're a man watching this, you have a highly likelihood of being a stonewaller. But if you are a stonewaller, you may think, I'm just being neutral. I'm just holding my tongue. But if you are completely non-responsive in most of your arguments, you're actually being a stonewaller. And that is not a good habit to get into. It's not neutral. When you cease to respond to a person who's trying to engage you, that's not being neutral. That is a smack in their face. That's an attitude of, I'm too good for this. I don't have to listen to this. I'm shutting you out. It is a giant stop sign to any kind of intimacy. So it may feel like you're being neutral, but you're not. You're actually being very harsh to this other person. It's one of the harshest things you can do. So keep that in mind. Now, if you are a stonewaller, if you find that you're stonewalling in relationships, take a minute, open your mouth and say, I need a break. I need 5 minutes off. I need 10 minutes away from you to calm down before we continue this discussion. Ask for the break, because that is what you need. You need to go off by yourself for a minimum of 5 minutes and do some deep breathing and really process what's going on. Partners, if your spouse asks you for a timeout, agree. Because it's only going to do you good too to have 5 minutes to calm down and breathe. And remember, this is someone I love. This is someone I'm committed to. Okay? So if you're in a relationship and somebody says, I need a break from this discussion, give them a break. Now, that doesn't mean to let it go and never bring it up again. You want to be very clear. You say, okay, after 10 minutes, we're going to both come back into the same room and we are going to resolve our difference of opinion. So that's an important step to take. And if you are a stonewaller, just be very aware that you're going to need to just explicitly say, I'm not trying to shut you out, but I'm too upset to have this conversation right now. And that's really the key to moving from being stonewalling to being able to protect yourself, but also protect the relationship. If you feel like your partner is stonewalling you, and you're talking, and they're not responding at all, then you ask for the break. You say, you know what? I don't feel like this is the right time to have this conversation. You're obviously preoccupied by your phone, or you obviously are too hungry to think, or whatever. Give them a good out. Let them save face. Remember, this is a person that you love. So don't say, you're being such a stonewaller, you're always shutting me out. That's just going to emotionally flood that person even more. So just give them an out. Say, you know what, if you can make the decision on your own, just say, I'm going to make a decision. We can discuss it later when you are willing to discuss it. So stop the argument and give that person the break that they maybe don't even know they need. They unconsciously know they need it. Give them a break. And then later on, when you're not in the middle of a fight, go to the person, maybe show them my blog, show them this video and say, you know what, I really feel like you shut me out when we have these conversations. And say, you don't have to talk, but I need you to give me some sort of cue, a nod, shaking your head, saying, Those kind of cues, both verbal and non-verbal, they're not there when someone's stonewalling you. And those are the cues that allow you to feel heard and know that you actually are having a conversation with the other person. So, in a time that you're both calm, express your concern over this sort of stonewalling habit and ask for change. And that's all I've got this week. We're wrapping up our episode about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And I've really enjoyed talking about this topic. If you have more questions or you want to talk to me about it, please go to my website, schedule a free chat with me. We'll hook up, we'll talk, we'll figure out what's going on. So thank you. This is Elaine Bayless, the voice of reason for overwhelmed moms, helping you create a reality that works.